Hi, I'm Stargate Pioneer.
And I'm Stephen John Drew, and we're from Better Podcasting, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network.
Just like the show you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of the individual host.
Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready, because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 505 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is recorded live on Sunday, October 30th, 2022. It's Halloween Eve. I am Chris. Joining me, I have some of the normal band of misfits. We'll start first with Willie D. Nelson.
Hello, all you spooks and ghouls. Welcome to the party.
That's right, spooks and ghouls. Willie's here, and I would like to say that we had Anthony Bachman here, but I think he's been replaced.
Hey, Willie, answer your phone. Answer your phone. I want to ask you a question. Answer your phone.
Hello?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Well, that's a loaded question. I usually go by, we're talking like 2018, I go with Hereditary. If we're going with like 2017, Get Out was pretty good. If you want to go with slashers in the 80s.
I do like Get Out.
That.
Yeah, Get Out was solid.
Thank you. I'm glad you like my opinion.
It's too hot.
For those that were on audio, he's wearing his ghost face mask and had a knife.
And I also
answered
my phone.
What I needed to do was my actual NPR voice.
Yeah. We need an NPR
I
voice?
had my mask on. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, because I was going to say
NPR voice.
Yeah, I was going to say we should have started the show saying "Welcome to Marvel Snapchat" with Chris, Willie, and Tony. In today's episode, we'll talk about negative power locations and why they suck.
No.
Janet just came in and laughed at me because she knew I was wearing my mask.
We need to go baback to the 30s and 40s, where everyone talked like this. And in the news today, wouldn't you know it? Ghostface is on the loose again.
And Prof X is shutting down lanes in Marvel Snap. All that and more.
Oh, I didn't know we were going with the joke of Marvel Snap still, but all right. Actually, there is a reason why people talk like that back on the radio back then. It's because microphones weren't, sophisticated enough to pick up your bass and your voice. So everyone's voice had to be like this.
And now we can get good mics for like $60 on Amazon that just plug into your computers.
Hey, whose hand is that on my tweeter?
What?
On my tweeter.
You gonna enjoy jail tweeter?
Is this a Twitter joke that I'm not understanding?
No, it's the microphone has tweeters.
And I took it to a Varsity Blues joke.
That's
because if anybody in this group is our tweeter, it's Willie. And Willie's going to enjoy jail.
I don't think Willie would enjoy jail.
Hey, I've only been arrested
I think he
once.
Would. That's one more than me.
I got the bail back.
Speaking of, Twitter made me think of Twitter.
Don't ever think about Twitter. Twitter's done. Twitter's dead. Don't ever use Twitter anymore.
That's why I was bringing that up. Is what is the new Twitter? I don't know if I'm plugged in enough to know. I'm just kind of curious to see what develops as the new Twitter.
Well, there isn't one yet.
Listen, if I could use a new Twitter, I would love to stop getting like notifications that these new people are following me when they're obviously
you can turn that
either
off.
Turn what off?
Yeah.
The
notifications.
Well, does it change the fact that I'm getting followed by a bunch either their bots or they're sponsoring their OnlyFans or something or other, and just random follows? Like, okay, I guess because of our guests and stuff, I keep getting followed by sometimes people from the comic book industry, and I'm like, oh, that's cool every time. But I'm like, I don't really use Twitter, so I feel bad. But
I've actually had conversations with Jimmy Palmiotti because he's one of those ones that like he only follows like maybe a couple thousand people in the comic book industry. Luckily, I happen to be one of them. At some point, I said something about Ash Comic or whatever their old entertainment company was. Him and Joe Quesada kicking ass, and he followed me. And ever since then, he'll be tweeting out stuff about like him and Amanda Connor and going to a convention or whatever. I'm one of the people that can respond to it because I follow him. And you say something nice on his Twitter, he'll respond to you. He's like a totally nice guy, but he's like, no, anybody that talks shit, I just block and delete and move on. He's like, my Twitter is curated to where I'm only talking to people that I know aren't shitheads. So, you can do that.
Why is he a friend to you then?
I don't know.
I see what you did there.
Hey, cat, that's my microphone.
Rude.
I mean, that's the thing is you can sort of lock down your Twitter so you're only following the kind of things you want to see. And there's some weird static that occasionally pops in there. But, I mean, I'm not jumping on that bandwagon of, oh my God, I'm going to quit Twitter because Elon Musk bought it. But I see a lot of people talking about moving on to the new thing. And I enjoy some of the interactions I have with some people on Twitter. So I'm kind of curious to see what it shifts to because I want to continue to have those. Like the positive interactions I find enjoyable. Like when I'm talking about professional wrestling on a Wednesday night or something like that, and we start having fun back and forth between people, that's fun.
Yeah.
When we talk to comic industry folks who have been on the show or talking about their projects, that's fun. But when we start getting into, I share my opinion on, and this is just, I'm pulling out my ass. I think strawberry ice cream is vastly inferior to vanilla ice cream. And then I start getting...
No, you're correct.
And that's fair. I think so too at times, but depending on who makes it. But then when I start getting hate tweets laced with profanities and racial epithets and things like that because of some innocuous thing I've said, that's more when you go, oh yeah, I remember this situation in this platform, this old bird app can be kind of shitty.
This old bird app.
Because someone takes it and says, oh, you like strawberry ice cream, so that means you hate the Jews. And you're like, wait, what is going on here? Like,
well, I mean, and that's part of the problem you run into is people will take things to some incredibly insane extreme, and then all the context gets lost because someone just sees someone accusing someone else of something ridiculous, doesn't go back and look at it, and then it spirals into user X is anti-strawberry and hates all strawberries, blah, blah, blah. No, it's user X doesn't like strawberry ice cream. They could love regular strawberries, but don't love the artificial sweeteners that go into the ice cream or something.
Death to the strawberry fans. Death to them all.
Like I've seen people talking about Mastodon before, but I've heard that one come up multiple times. It never seems to stick.
There's band?
Yeah, I made an account on there and I use it for about 6 minutes. Like it's...
There's counter.social people have started talking about. And the only reason I know that one is Scott Johnson, who runs all the Frog Pants podcasts and stuff like that, said he was going to give it a try and stuff like that. And so that was one of the guys I like to interact with on Twitter. I was like, okay, maybe this is why I would take a look at that platform because someone I like is going there. It's just a matter of what is that platform going to be because no one's quite licked the benefit of Twitter, which is live news, stream of conscious kind of thing. If you want to see something going on, then there's an event. The simplest thing to do is click the hashtag and sort by new on Twitter and you'll get it there. Now you're going to get a bunch of chaff you have to sort through, but really,
I mean, there's
Twitter. Lick Twitter.
Lick Twitter. What
is that? What you said?
I don't think I said.
Well, you said no one had quite licked the concept.
The concept
of
is
the
what I was meaning. Yeah,
stream of thought algorithm programming. Yeah, because no one has taken Twitter and made a better version of it. No one's Appled Twitter yet, which that's what someone needs to do. Because Apple doesn't create anything; they just take somebody else's design and make it better. And so someone at Apple needs to make a better version of Twitter.
Thing of that?
It might be. There was probably something that somebody
stole. Facebook, Twitter. So I mean,
no, because MySpace and Facebook have no correlation with what Twitter actually is. Those were setting up profiles for a person where people came and looked at your profile, and then Facebook added in like interactions and postings and stuff. But Twitter is not something where it's not designed to have people come to your Twitter profile page. That's not like the design of Twitter.
It's designed
Twitter
to have
is basically a stream of consciousness.
Yeah. So there's not quite something similar to it, and why I brought it up is like I enjoy the interactions with most of the people that I follow and most people who follow me. There's always going to be weird stuff that pops up. Like I was in Twitter hell for a week. My mentions were because someone had mentioned they wanted to hire Hugh Freeze to be the head coach for West Virginia football. And I was like, that's terrible. The dude's not reformed at all. Well, he's like, no, he's a strong Christian who's reformed himself and he's all better now, basically, is what it came down to. For those that aren't aware, he was fired from Ole Miss for program violations. They also found out he was calling hookers on his university-issued cell phone.
I mean...
Nice. So not smart.
He's now coaching at Liberty University, which is the Jerry Falwell University. super Christian university,
Hold on a second.
where he has
proclaimed.
where he has proclaimed himself to be cleaned up and redeemed, but then was caught DMing co-eds who accused his football players of sexual assault to stand up for them and say things. I'm like, dude, you can't insert yourself in there, and then not suspending those players who were accused of sexual assault.
Oh, nice. So he's just an all-around piece of shit.
Yeah. So I was saying stuff to the
under
effect,
the cloak of being born again.
exactly. So I was saying stuff to the effect of, I guess character only counts when you're winning, or not winning, rather.
Now, when you say suspending those players, would you mean like a temporary suspension till
if there's an
proof and
accusation
stuff?
there and there's an investigation, you probably shouldn't have them playing.
I mean, what about I would say a temporary suspension until shit gets settled. Like
Yes.
what's really going on?
But
If you got
the real
accusations,
thing-
definitely screw you, man. But don't forget the Duke lacrosse scandal thing where they turned out to be all innocent,
That's true. That's true.
and then their lives still got fucked over.
You are 100% correct. But the
It does
fact was, if you go and look at the stories that came out there, it was Liberty was kind of poo-pooing and burying all of the sexual assault accusations and trying not to address them. And then you had the head coach of their football team DMing the accusers and the people that are suing Liberty University over Title IX grounds for them being sexually assaulted on campus. He's then DMing them, be like, this man's a strong moral Christian. He would never do that.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff like that.
No,
You don't-
I
you
don't
do
want to
that.
approve of that.
And-
You can go to fuck you for that.
And so I
That's
wasn't
basically witness tampering, right? Or
I
what do they
wasn't-
call it if it's actually the victim? Like, yeah, that's insane.
he's trying to intimidate them basically with his clout.
Yeah.
So I wasn't
I get
bringing that up to talk about this issue specifically, but to give context to say why my Twitter mentions were a mess for about 4 days, because there were a lot of people like, I only care about winning. I don't care about the rest of this stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was quoting
And you're
things.
an awful person.
And then other people are like, he's reformed and cleaned up. And I was like, no, he's not. Here is the things he's doing at this university. And they'd be like, well, here's everything he did at Ole Miss. I'm like, I don't care about that. I care about what is going on now. Luckily, he signed a 4-year extension with them and is getting paid like $4 million a year now to coach at that university. So I don't have to worry about it. But it made my Twitter mentions just a complete friggin' nightmare. And some of it was cordial, and then some of it was just people being obscenely gross. But there was other stuff we saw, like right after the acquisition went through, you could look and see the numbers of racist and sexist comments spiked all of a sudden on Twitter and stuff like that.
One word went up like 5,000%.
When one of the first things you do is buy the company and then fire the person who's in charge of the content moderation, who was one of the people that suspended the Great Orange one permanently, it gives you an idea of what they're going to do with their platform.
Yep. It's going to be block, mute, and move on. Because, I don't know. I've seen a bunch of people putting up, it's like, we could either, if you don't like, Elon Musk or the people he's bringing back to Twitter, you could always leave the app. That's an option. Or you can keep your profile, block all those people, block mentions of all the words. Like I have the words Kanye and Kardashian blocked on my Twitter, so they don't show up. I don't see mention of those people. I don't want to.
That's fair.
I don't care about anything they ever do, so it's not in my Twitter feed.
But how long do those tools remain in place if you want to play devil's advocate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
good
now,
for
those
you,
tools
Bachman,
go away,
because
and I keep getting every other ad as a freaking ad for keeping up with the idiots. I'll be leaving Twitter.
And that's
see,
the only reason I
news
brought
for
it
you.
up was just to kind of, and if anyone's watching or listening that knows, what's the future app? What's the next Twitter? Because I want to be there, because I want to have interactions with people that I enjoy, but I also want to be able to curate it and not have it be toxic and gross. Because
that's one of the reasons I would be afraid of losing my Twitter. Like I had a conversation with Dan Slott about Spider-Man. Without going to a New York comic book convention, that doesn't happen without Twitter. Like an actual back and forth, like 10 different tweets. We had an actual conversation. Like that's fantastic. That doesn't happen unless I fly to New York and meet that guy at a con, and then maybe I get 30 seconds with him. Yeah, interactions like that are possible on this app, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, so I just want to know what's next, because I don't necessarily subscribe to the belief that the old Bird app is going to die immediately or anything like that, but I do think that as moderation rules change and as the population of the app changes, you may see a migration of some folks to other places. So I'm just curious what it is, because depending on who those folks are that are migrating off, those are folks I may like talking to and like interacting with. So I just want to know where they're going so that I can go there. That's all.
I remember if I still have my Mastodon app. I know I signed up for it.
I mean, that's one of the
'Cause-
ones I'd looked at before. Counter Social I'd seen on there, but I don't know enough about them. I mean, I'm sure as hell not going to truth.social. Let's be honest
No.
here.
Yep, I'm still at Anthony Bachman on Mastodon. I tried to be an early adopter and get my name everywhere I go because I know there's 2 other Anthony Bachmans,
Right.
and it just pisses them off.
That was also part of my thought was I need to go and do the land grab, make sure I get my name, because
Yeah.
I'm still mad to this day that at Chris Farrell on Twitter is taken and hasn't been used in 14 plus years, and I can't get it.
Yeah.
And there's
That's
there's no process for me to go to Twitter and be like, this account is dead. I would like
Yeah.
it because I am Chris Farrell.
At Anthony Bachman on Instagram does not post. So I'm at Bachman Anthony on Instagram. I had to reverse my names to get it.
That's why I'm
That's the only one I
Chris
didn't get.
Farrell,
It pisses me off.
which I hate that. I hate being the because I'm
Yeah.
not important enough
The
to be
or the real
the Chris
or
Farrell.
yeah.
But whatever. It was the best I could do to brand my account under my own name.
Excuse me, but fuck you both. Try having my fucking name and trying that.
That's
Well,
your
good
that's your parents'
fucking
fault.
luck.
Hey, Willie, go Google my name and see what the first result is that comes up. Spoiler alert, it's a convicted murderer out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Actually, I'm pretty sure if you Google my name, I am the first thing that comes up. I got pretty good API on my old blog, and so yeah, it's all stuff from the blog or one of my podcasts. I think I went pretty hard at my Google account for a while, making sure that if you Googled my name, I was the one that came up. There is also a restaurant owner in Michigan, and I believe a lawyer in Florida. But yeah, they don't show till like page 2.
Oh, they've
They must hate me.
reprioritized it. Now the first result is Chris Farrell on IMDb, who I have no idea who that is. And if you go to the fourth result, now it's Chris Farrell sentenced to 20 years in prison for the death of... That used to be number 1.
Okay, actually, I want to look. I haven't seen mine in a while, so if we just go straight
just
to
saying.
Google,
SEO is kind of a big deal, but it doesn't always work out for us.
it is.
Do I even have to look up Willie Nelson on Google?
Well, no,
do I even have to?
we know what your first one's going to be. So it's all the pictures of the guy that's the chef, but the first option and clickable link is my my Twitter page. The
Oh,
second
not
one
bad.
is my LinkedIn as the co-host of Good and Nerdy. The third one is my deleted Facebook page. And the fourth one is my reverse name Instagram. Yeah, and fifth is my YouTube.
Not bad.
6 is my IMDb because I have one IMDb credit. Yeah, my SEO is solid, other than photos, apparently.
Mine is not. But hey, at least people aren't going to think I'm a murderer at first glance anymore, so I could live with that.
There you go. That's the
I mean,
important part.
I mean,
At
I
least at
like
first
my
glance,
name.
we don't want them to think we're murderers.
At least my Twitter name. I like it. What's wrong with y'all? It's South like the opposite of North and Porky like the pig. All one word. That's South Porky.
I mean, that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with having a Twitter account that doesn't directly correlate to your name.
Mhm.
But when I had pivoted when I was doing a lot more podcasts and things like that and using my Twitter primarily to promote podcasts and things I was working on, and the Twitter account I was using at the time that I pivoted away from was for a blog I had created to stop writing on 5 years ago. So I needed to come up with some kind of a new name. So I just followed the Kevin Smith model, which was he's at the Kevin Smith, and I was like, okay, at the Chris Farrell, because I couldn't
There
get
you
Chris
go.
Farrell.
Good, good.
If anyone ever finds it open, send me a message. I will gladly go. I'm going to go and check right now as we're saying this. and
see
I
if
can
it's
land
see if it's
grab.
available currently.
I did get this. I did on a Snap. I did get the sneak in Willie Nelson.
Nope, it's not. And the last post was
Hmm.
June 2010.
I was say, Will, have you ever beat like whoever his social media manager is to a new product? Was Snapchat the only one where you got your name?
Wait, Snapchat my real name?
I think you
I
said
thought you
Marvel
just said-
Snap. Marvel
Oh,
Snap.
Snap.
Marvel
yeah,
Snap.
sorry, Marvel
Oh.
Snap. Sorry, yeah, you're right. I should have specified. I didn't even think of that. Didn't even think about Snapchat.
was
I
it-
rarely use it.
Yeah,
I
me
just-
too.
And my real question is, how long is it going to take? When are they putting it out? Because Marvel has to have somebody do the Marvel Snapchat podcast. Will they be talking about Marvel Snap?
I mean, I'm sure
But then they
there's
can
already a
actually
couple
have
out
Snapchat in the title, which would just be hilarious.
I mean, I'm sure someone could land grab it right now. Go Google domains and see if you can get it.
Someone should snag that shit. Because Marvel Snapchat, where they talk about the game, like that's just ripe. that's just so ripe for the picking.
Chatting about snapping.
I mean, it
Yep.
is
Chat
the
snap.
most.
There we go.
It's
Call
probably
it that.
it's on the top of all the popular charts right now because it's a new release. The question is, what's the staying power of this game? Let's see 6 months from now where it ranks in
I know,
things,
well-
what they do to keep.
Well,
it
that's the thing
active.
is, I was doing the tops, the card traders, and I was like, oh, they're bringing those, like those are getting popular. I'll try that again because I had the Star Wars one when I did my year of Star Wars for Inktober. It was just a good place to find good headshots of characters because all the cards are basically great headshots of characters in the game, and the card trader games are free to play. I was like, I'll do that one again. And so I pulled up the Star Wars one, and I actually add the Marvel one and the Disney one. And I've been just, card collecting all of them. And man, it's so weird how different they are and who they're aimed at. Because like the Marvel one, I can't keep enough credits to like keep buying packs. And the Disney one, it keeps giving you so many coins to buy packs that like I have trouble spending them all. Because one's aimed more at kids and the other one's aimed at comic book collectors. But it's the same game with 3 different interfaces done by the same company. And so it's very strange to see how very different they are. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm about done playing the Marvel trading card game, but I'm going to play the Snap game because this game's actually fun. And it's the trading card game basically already with just an actual game mechanic. Yeah, no, this Snap shit is addictive. You're awful
card
for getting this on this.
It's not really a game to me. It's okay, you just collect cards, and that's not
it's just a
super
card
fun
collector.
to me to collect
Who
digital
cares about
cards.
that?
But this kind of game like Marvel Snap is where you collect cards to play a game similar to like Pokemon and things like that. That's fun to me. And I also enjoy the fact, and we'll touch on it on what I'm into, I'm sure, that this isn't a pay-to-win game. Even if you drop money in, all it does is kind of speed your progress up a little bit. You can't just keep buying packs upon packs upon packs of cards to try and get the rare cards, because it kind of limits your card progression to how you level through the game, not based off how much stuff you buy. I like that.
I say you can't even buy cards, can you? You
No,
just
you
get them in the collector thing.
But
Okay,
you
I was
could-
like,
you
am I
could pay to
am I
level-
missing a huge part of this game?
can.
You can if you pay to level up your cards, because you can use credits to level up your cards.
And you can
Okay, and then the
also-
leveling up is what levels up your collector number, and then so you unlock the cards faster. Okay,
and-
but you're
and
still not just
also,
buying cards.
You kinda can. On the shop page, you can buy variants, and sometimes there's cards you don't have.
That's
that
true.
You can just buy the variant of. But say if we're talking Marvel Snap, save your gold to replenish your daily missions. That's what you use your gold for. Don't use anything else.
Yep. And you get 50
Oh.
free gold a day.
No. You get 50 free credits to
That's what
level
it
up
is,
your
sorry.
cards.
No, there's also a free gold
Is there?
on the
Wait.
screen.
Excuse me one moment.
At least I thought it was. Maybe I'm remembering wrong.
Pardon the podcast while we all go and pull up our Marvel Snapchat.
Yes,
and
we're
follow
all
the
pulling
series
up Marvel Snap as we speak right now.
I mean,
Welcome to Marvel Snapchat.
Oh no, you're
with
wrong.
Chris, Willie,
you're
and
you're
Tony.
right. Rather, it's credits. I apologize. I was getting my things
You're-
confused.
Hey, you're wrong.
Yeah, I just
Imagine
said I was.
that. No. Don't you telling me like you're wrong. Like
I do,
hey,
however, wish
imagine
there was
that.
a
You're
way
wrong.
to increase the size of the font. Sometimes it is hard to read the font on the location cards, even on my iPhone 13.
I play on
Oh.
a tablet a lot, so I haven't
Oh,
had that problem.
Damn this 2020 vision. Damn it to hell.
I have laser eyes, and I still have trouble reading these damn things.
Too bad Cyclops is a shitty card.
Yeah, he's no good. I took him out
He's
of my deck
all
after
right.
a while.
He's all
I
right.
see what you did there. He's
Mhm.
all right. I mean, yeah.
I mean, if that one place drops where the DC, I think if that drops, it's all right. Adds 3 to without any
That's where he's
powers,
super
abilities.
useful. But you
But
guys
hell,
aren't
like-
here to hear us talk about Marvel Snap, and you guys
They're
know
not.
we're going
They
to talk
might
about it at
be.
the end of the show.
They might be.
Well, don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later is more what I meant. But before we do that, we're going to roll on in to the news of the week.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
Welcome to the news of the week. It is that part of the show where we run down what is in our minds some of the most interesting, geeky, and/or nerdy news to have popped up here in the last week or so. share it with you guys who are watching live or listening later on. I didn't really have any plans for who wants to go first, so open floor. Who wants to kick things off? Anyone? Bueller?
I mean, I guess mine kind of leads into Willie's, so
Ah, there you go. So
we
that
can do
makes
it that
sense.
way.
Let's start with yours.
Yep. Plus, and let's be honest, I think the one that I'm covering probably was the biggest news of the last week. So we've been waiting for DC to stop shooting themselves in the foot. We've been waiting for them to try to pick their version of a Kevin Feige type leader. And the announcement that we got seems like it's actually a really good idea because they didn't do exactly what everybody was expecting. And we now have co-chairs and co-CEOs of DC Studios with James Gunn and Peter Safran to lead the film, TV, and animation division of the DC Studios. So these are the two people that David Zaslav is putting in charge. Gunn, of course, we all know. If you don't know who James Gunn is, what rock have you been living under? Mm-hmm. This is the guy who was gave us 2 Guardians films and then was promptly fired from DC or from Disney because of quotes that he put on his Twitter account from 10 years previous that he had already apologized for, was then hired by DC to do the Suicide Squad, took another rabble-rousing gang of characters no one had ever heard of and made an amazing film with them, just like he did with the Guardians, and is now back with Marvel because as soon as it blew over, Disney hired him back. And he went and made what's going to be the 3rd Guardians film, what we just saw the trailer for, the holiday special that's coming out this Christmas, where they're going to go get Star-Lord the best Christmas present ever, Kevin Bacon.
Which impeccable timing on dropping that trailer. Like the DC
Yes.
James Gunn news drops, then like 10 minutes later, I'm like, Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, what?
Guardians, yep. Well, because I mean, you have to figure, at this point going forward, the only downside of this announcement is we're probably not going to see any more James Gunn work with Marvel.
And to be honest, once he was done with Guardians, he hadn't really indicated he was doing stuff. And with him doing Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad, I kind of figured he was just going to do his own thing or maybe keep working on those projects.
Yeah, which makes sense. But it does make me a little sad because like somewhere in my heart, there was that hope that like James Gunn might have been like, you know what? I always did like the New Warriors. Maybe I could make a movie out of them. And like just knowing that like there's so many like C and D level, Marvel characters that I've got massive love for, and seeing what Gunn was able to do with the Guardians, like it just could have been awesome for him to do that with some of those other characters at Marvel. But it's also going to be great to see what he does helming DC, because we know he took characters that nobody cared about in the Suicide Squad and gave us an amazing film filled with, top tier talent, spun off possibly the best, weirdest, comic book spinoff show ever of all time with Peacemaker. Of the characters that you would have thought would have got a show off of that movie, I don't think Peacemaker would have been in most people's top 3. Like, that's not who you would have thought was going to be like the hero character coming out of there, because he's not a hero in the movie. Then again, none of them are. It's the Suicide Squad. But yeah, so we've got James Gunn is going to be doing the big song and dance over with DC, and then he's doing it with producer Peter Safran, which me and Chris were looking into earlier, trying to figure out exactly where he had been on. And so he is from his IMDb, is a British-American film producer, produced several films for Warner Brothers, New Line Cinema, and other film companies, which the DC ones we knew, but this was kind of interesting. He's produced on Aquaman, Shazam, The Suicide Squad, The Conjuring, the remake of Flatliners, Annabelle, The Nun, The Specials, The Belko Experiment, which is also another awesome James Gunn one, Scary Movie, and The Starving Games. So he did a couple of those weird ass knockoff films. So he was in one of those. But yeah, this guy's been like, his producing credits are pretty solid. The new Flatliners wasn't great, but it was an okay update. The Conjuring, the Annabelle films, like those are all solid films and film franchises. Like he's worked on some good stuff.
The Nun was trash.
And The Nun was
trash tier. Shouldn't have been made.
He didn't write it or direct it. He just produced it.
Oh, yeah, I'll give him that. Yeah, I'm not going to hold it against him. Just
his production list goes all the way back to 97 as a co-producer on Rocket Man. And then in 2000, executive producer on Scary Movie. And he's basically been working constantly ever since. And with the fact that he's been on, Aquaman and Shazam, all 8 episodes of Peacemaker, so he was working toe to toe with James Gunn already. So he's been part of two of the bigger DC movies that were well received. He's been part of the Suicide Squad that everybody loved, and he's been part of probably the most highly critically acclaimed DC show ever with Peacemaker. So like he's worked with Gunn before, they've worked on great projects together and have turned out solid, shows. You got a question, Willie?
Yeah, when you say Rocket Man, are we talking about the Harlan Williams movie or the Elton John movie?
Harlan Williams.
Harlan Williams. That dumb movie.
Yeah, Rocket Man. Yeah, Disney's Rocket Man.
Yes.
Yeah, where it's Harlan Williams and a bunch of monkeys training to go to space. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, like that's how far back this guy goes. 97 Rocket Man, Harlan Williams.
I know Harlan Williams. It's all from memory, baby.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, dude's got some serious producing credit. Like on his list on IMDb, it is a list of he has 66 producer credits. Like that's a lot of work that this guy's been doing in the past, basically 30 years. Like, solidly working. And yeah, on some stuff that I really love. Because yeah, like the Belko Experiment was like Hunger Games in a building. Like that thing was ridiculously well made. So yeah, he was on Vampires Suck. That movie's hilarious. Yeah, he's worked on a bunch of good stuff. But yeah, so it's the one name we know, James Gunn. The one name a lot of us probably didn't know, Peter Safran. But we know now that they've worked together incredibly well on top tier projects that have turned out solid. And if you give James Gunn the keys to your little, cabinet of characters, we saw what he did with Guardians. I'm one of those people, like when they first announced the cast, I've loved James Gunn. I own Slither. That's one of my favorite, scary movies. Brightburn, I think, is one of the coolest things ever done. Anything that's been involved with James Gunn, like he makes really weird, awesome films. Yeah, Willie doesn't like it because of the eyeball scene, but it's a fantastic movie. And I think it was his brother actually wrote and directed. He just produced on it. But yeah, when Gunn's involved, you get really good stuff. And like, yeah, the original Guardians, he took all characters that weren't Guardians of the Galaxy in the comic book. The original Guardians were basically the team that you see at the end of the second movie. It was, Starhawk and all the other ones were, Major Van Tastrovic, which I had a connection to it because it's an alternate timeline version of Marvel Boy from New Warriors. So that's why I always thought that those Guardians were kind of cool. But like Charlie 27, all them were really weird characters. So the only one that they actually took from the original cast and then made them a character in that movie was Yondu. And Yondu was a totally different, like, Elven Archer character in the comics. So what James Gunn did with those and then the movies he gave us have very little to do with the original comic books. Well, at the same time, they're fucking awesome. Like, there's nothing wrong with what he did with those characters. There's nothing that he did that makes them, like, not representative of the comic books, while at the same time giving us totally new characteristics and, storylines for them and building an amazing world around them. The fact that he can now do that with DC, where they've got, a closet filled with, probably another 1,400 IP characters that DC Comics owns that have never seen a film, never been in a cartoon. Let that guy dig in that toy box and find what he can find, and then greenlight some directors that he knows to go film projects. We might get the coolest, weirdest, and dear Lord, yeah, the most James Gunnish version of a galaxy of characters altogether. Because, we saw, we got, Star-Lord jumping backward and flipping off Thanos after he, puts a bomb on his chest in a fist fight in one of the Avengers movies because of what James Gunn did with the Guardians. Now, imagine an entire Justice League based around the idea that James Gunn put them all together on a team.
But
this shit could get weird.
What's really interesting to me, too, and on top of how he'll mix things up and we'll have some weird stuff, but there's also going to be some faithfulness to the comic, or actually taking stuff out of comics that makes sense to move it forward and pull it into the movies. And I would be lying if I said I didn't derive a little bit of satisfaction out of watching some of those aggressive Zack Snyder stands melt down after this news came out, because there was a veritable meltdown of, because they've all been saying, Zack Snyder's going to be brought back in. The Snyderverse is coming back. This new owner of WB knows where all the money is, blah, blah, blah. And then they hire two guys that are probably not going to be going down that same path if you go and look at their filmography and what they've been doing in DC already. Because you're talking about James Gunn, who did Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad, and the other gentleman whose name escapes me all of a sudden, who was involved in Shazam and Aquaman. Those are all very far removed from what we got with Man of Steel and Justice League and things like that. They were more superhero-y and more in line with the, hey, we can have fun with these properties, versus Grim Dark, Must Punch, Martha stuff that we got before. And I'm not trying to take a shot, and I did take a shot there, I realized, so my apologies. But more my thought was, hey, this is really interesting for what it means for the future of these properties, which will lead us into another news story here in a few, I'm sure. But cautious optimism. And I was also really liking the fact that James Gunn came out and said after the fact, because it really stirred up those fanboy wars again, which I don't think was the intent, because everyone's like, oh, DC's going to come and kick Marvel's ass, blah, 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 whatever. And then James Gunn came out and said something to the effect of, a dollar made for DC doesn't take a dollar out of Marvel's pocket. Effectively, everything can coexist. And like, they're all talking smack and stuff. He goes, no, I'm really excited to do this. He goes, one of the first people I told about this was Kevin Feige, because I love Kevin Feige. And Kevin Feige was really excited for me. So it's not like there's some big, it's the fans that are feeding this war. It's not the people that work in the different industries that are feeding the war that much, really. Granted, there's the war when it comes to making money, but it's not like Kevin Feige's out to kill DC, because if there's less movies of interest out there, it kills the genre a little bit. He wants them to make good movies, because people don't get superhero fatigue near as quickly if there's good superhero movies out there.
So I already have an idea. I want him to do this. I got you, James Gunn.
What's your idea, Willie?
James Gunn, take it, run it. This is freebie for you, all right? Let's keep Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special thing as a thing. Let's keep in line with holiday special ideas. Batmite and Mixel Pixel's Valentine's Day adventure.
Okay. That would be fun.
Starring the Creeper.
I don't even know who the Creeper is. But sure.
I'm telling you.
Are you talking about Jeepers Creepers, the Creeper?
Nope.
Because that dude, I fuck that guy, whoever created that and owns the IP. Fuck him.
I'm just telling you, with James Gunn in charge, we're going to see a Creeper movie or TV show at some point, because that is just an off the wall. It's a character called the Creeper. He wears a yellow outfit with green fur around the collar, has a Joker-looking face, and he jumps around like Nightcrawler. It's one of the strangest characters in the DC catalog. And he's, if I remember correctly, he's a TV news reporter who turns into the Creeper.
Hold on. You said he jumps around like Nightcrawler. I mean, he's very
agile.
Athletic? Or do you mean like he teleports around?
Agile.
No, jumps around. Agile.
Because there's a lot of characters that jump around. It could be like Toad or something.
He's like Leaper. I mean, that's what we're talking
he's
about.
Like Leaper, but he's Creeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toad. There you go.
The Leaper.
Yeah, Batroc.
I don't know why I went with Scottish instead of French, but
who didn't do any jumping, but did kick ass. So I'll give him that.
I just want them to make good stuff, and I want to be legitimately excited for DC movies. And I have been excited for some recently. Like, I want to see Black Adam at some point. Not enough. I'm going out to the theaters to do it, but like, I enjoyed Shazam. I enjoyed parts of Aquaman. Not taking a shot there, but
I still haven't seen it.
I've enjoyed their animated stuff. Like Harley Quinn is fantastic. That show's hilarious.
I need to get back in that show. I watched like the first two, and I haven't got back to it because I'm finishing up Parks and Rec, but it's on the list now.
There was a couple. Was in Harley Quinn as James Gunn, if I remember right.
Oh, nice. Does he show up as himself?
Yeah.
Awesome. There are a couple of projects still. So Zaslav said, that everything going forward is going to be under Gunn and Safran. But let's see, what was it? Unlike Marvel Studios, DC has multiple films set in separate creative universes, which that's what they're toting it as now. So they're still not using the word Elseworlds, which get off your ass, DC. Your Elseworlds need to be called Elseworlds because that's what you called it.
If Marvel wants to call the MCU 616, I don't give a DC call whatever the fuck they want. Fuck you.
Marvel has a 616, and then they introduce the concept of what if, which is where they can tell any type of story they want. If you're going to have a Joker that doesn't correspond to anything else that's ever been A, written about the fucking Joker, or B, have anything to do with any of the movies, then you need to slap a fucking Elseworlds label on it and get your common everyday audience member to understand what the term Elseworlds means. Because if you're going to have multiple universes, you got to fucking lock that shit down and say, no, this Joker doesn't exist in the same world as the Matt Reeves Batman. They are not in the same universe. See, what was it? Yeah. According to sources, Joker filmmaker Todd Phillips' work on the upcoming sequel goes into production later this year, will not fall under Gunn and Safran's purview, and instead will still be overseen by DeLuca and Abdi, and then Matt Reeves, who worked under Humada, who we saw just quit, has a budding universe based on the Batman movie, which we've seen stuff greenlit and canceled, so we don't know how much of the new the Batman universe we're actually going to get, but it says it's unclear under whose purview Reeves' future projects would fall, but everything else would move forward under Gunn and Safran. So Matt Reeves may not be answering to the new co-CEO chairs. He may just be answering directly to Zaslav on what he's working on with the Batman, or they might eventually shift all the Batman projects under Gunn and Safran. But apparently for right now, he's not answering to them yet, which is kind of strange that because we've had so many of those projects greenlit and so many of them canceled. Do we know what's coming other than a guaranteed The Batman 2? Because I think
the Batman 3, I hope.
There was a Penguin show. There was Gotham City PD show. There was HBO Max shows that were coming that were spin-offs of all of the Batman stuff.
I wasn't really...
And I want to say at one time or another, we've heard that they've all been canceled except for they re-greenlit like the Gotham Central PD show.
Who knows at this point, though? With the changing landscape of things, it could be that they are going to keep doing more stuff in that universe. I mean, and it's compelling and it's interesting, and I think we can all say it's enjoyable to have more of the detective Batman out there because we haven't gotten a huge flavor of that.
And it was more Batman too.
Yeah. It was probably the
most.
Yeah, and it's weird because you start with I grew up watching the reruns of '66 Adam West, which was The Bright Knight. It's very much not much of the comics, but a lot of the reference to the comics from the '60s, back when there was just some weird shit they were doing in comics, and Batman wasn't dark and gritty yet. And then I was 12 years old in the theater when Batman '89 came out. Frickin' Michael Keaton is my Batman. Like. Other than now I can't think of his actual name. The voice of Batman,
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin
Conroy. Yeah, because Conroy is actually who I hear when I read Batman in comics. Like that is Batman. Like he is Batman forever. But live action, Michael Keaton's always been my Batman. I love that guy. But freaking the Christian Bale got even closer to some of the comic storytelling, and they made a lot of it more realistic. Some of the stuff Nolan did in those movies is amazing. The fact that we finally got a Batman head with a cowl that can turn so that he's not doing this shit. And just looking like an action figure from the the 60s.
You ever pulled a neck muscle and you have to do that?
Exactly.
Hey, what's over that way?
Yeah.
What's over that way?
Michael Keaton was great, but no peripheral vision and he couldn't turn his head. And then with the Matt Reeves one, we got an even more updated, more gritty, closer to some of the interpretations of the comics Batman. It's like every time they just get a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And they're great, but we get another version of it. And the freaking Matt Reeves part was awesome. So I'm excited to see where they move forward with that. And I hope it gets integrated at some point, because how cool would it be to have, Sparkly Vampire Boy in his Batman suit standing next to Gal Gadot.
At some point we got to stop calling Sparkly Vampire Boy because he did those movies. He's done a ton of other stuff that's well beyond being
I love
it
though, because I don't mean it as a detractor. I actually went back and watched all of those films. I read the first book. It is garbage.
So here's the thing.
It is absolute garbage.
Most people who say that do mean it as a detraction.
Yeah.
Though.
I actually mean it as a good thing, because this is a kid that in those first, 5 or 6 movies he made, like the first big blockbuster things, the first movies he was ever a part of, he made enough money that he never really has to work. Like that kid could take his Twilight money and go home.
He's got Harry Potter money too.
And he was in the Harry Potter. So I don't think he needs to work. So when he's choosing to put himself in the physical shape of playing the Batman and going through what he knows it's going to be publicly to play the character Bruce Wayne and to take shit from people calling him the Sparkly Vampire Boy and know that he's going to deal with that for years and years and years to play Batman, and to still say, it's worth it. I want to play that character. We know he's actually invested.
Yeah.
It's not freaking, Batfleck sitting there pounding at the keyboard angry while he's wearing the bat outfit, apparently. Where it seems like this kid actually really enjoyed what he was doing.
I think Affleck catches way too much hell for his depiction of the character.
Affleck took on too much at once and said, "Oh, I'm going to write, direct, and star in 3 films."
But even Batfleck though, if you go and look at the Batman they were trying to do, which was more Frank Miller-esque, that's what it worked for that.
They nailed the Frank Miller. They nailed the Frank Miller Batman.
I know I was guilty of it, and I think I since revised what I had said on that, but when they originally announced the Batfleck casting, my very first impression, and then 5 minutes later I think I corrected, was, the fuck, Ben Affleck's going to be Batman? But then I stopped and thought about it. If you go and look at the things that Ben Affleck had done, The dude
Yeah,
has a pretty wide range of things that he's done, so it was.
Let's be honest. If you can play Daredevil, you can play Batman.
I mean,
like,
you're not wrong there.
I'll be honest. I would love to see Charlie Cox do a version of Batman. Like, his Daredevil's awesome. If he just took all the charm and pulled it out of his character and was just the brooding, I think he'd make an awesome Batman.
Only when he decides he's done playing Matt Murdock, because let him play that character as much as he
let him
wants.
play that forever. But I mean, Robert Pattinson's great. The kid's fantastically talented. And like I said, yeah, the Twilight films they're garbage books. I read the first one. It's some of the worst prose I've ever read in my life. But those movies are based on those books, and that kid acted his ass off in those films and put in some pretty solid performances on what's not good writing. And so if you actually read how bad those stories are and then see how okay the movies are, he's fucking talented. The kid can play anything. And between that and Tenet and Batman, like, he's got a wide range of shit. And then, yeah, Cedric Diggory. Yeah, his Harry Potter character was great. Like, the kid's super talented. I want to see him go for his Batman, and they need to have, like, he needs to be brought into the James Gunn stuff just because I want to see, like, that Batman standing next to Gal Gadot and Aquaman. Like, that would be a really cool, like, grouping of people I would like to see. I love the Batfleck, the Frank Miller, like, old, dark, gritty. I've been doing this for 60 years. Like, he was awesome at that. But we need, like, what they were trying to do with, what was it, George Miller, when they were doing the Justice League down in Australia where they started filming and all the cast members were like under 25. Like, they were going to have a brand new Justice League with all new people. And, maybe what we get is, Robert Pattinson next to a new 22-year-old Wonder Woman or a new 18-year-old kid playing Aquaman. Who knows?
Here's the thing.
But, I mean, yeah.
They're establishing all these Elseworlds things. There's nothing that says they couldn't do their own Crisis.
Yeah.
At some point in time, which then unites everything into one timeline.
We've seen it on TV.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it'd be awesome to see it in the movies. And yeah, we did want to go over, the statement from Gunn and Safran was kind of awesome. It said, "We're honored to be the stewards of these DC characters we've loved since we were children. We look forward to collaborating with the most talented writers, directors, and actors in the world to create an integrated, multi-layered universe," there we go, "that still allows for the individual expressivism of the artists involved. Our commitment to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Harley Quinn, and the rest of the DCU stable of characters is only equaled by our commitment to the wonder of human possibility these characters represent. We're excited to invigorate the theatrical experience around the world as we tell some of the biggest, most beautiful, and grandest stories ever told." And I think that should be one of the aims of it too, is like, it should be big. The fact that Batman versus Superman didn't gross $4 billion, I still find shocking because I think it should have. Not want to argue the Snyder aspects of it, but just those two characters on screen together for the first time, it should have been a bigger deal. And it feels like Warner Brothers at the time didn't make it as big of a deal as it could have been. And so knowing that James Gunn is going to want to do something, I mean, he may not have a plan in place for something like a Crisis event yet, but we know at some point they're going to do it, because one of the things that everybody loves about Marvel, no matter how much they complain, is that we got 23 movies that led up to a fight. That's insane. I mean, here's the thing. And that's comic book storytelling, and they can do that with the DC characters.
I don't think they need to have a grand plan yet. I'm sure he's got things written down in the back of an envelope and things like that, and they've talked to other folks. And The Rock is going to have creative input and things because of how heavily DC leaned on him for promotion of Black Adam and how he's been promoting other characters, some of which lead into another news story we're going to have once Willie's back. So there's a lot to be seen what's going to happen. I think they've got the right people there. You've got people that seem to have a love and affection for the source material. And this is not me trying to do Marvel versus DC, but I'm sure that James Gunn has also learned a lot from working with Kevin Feige about how he planned and architected out everything. This is not me being like, he's Kevin Feige light. No, but working with him, you probably learn some of the methods he uses and some of how he plans things out. And you can take what you liked about that and adapt it to what you're doing going forward. Wow, that was a tongue twister.
A little bit.
In the chat room, we'd had Random Merc Review who had mentioned they were interested in an Azrael movie, which I think could be cool, but they have a lot of setup before they get there. And it also said, come to think of it, I don't need a multiverse. I think it hurts the characters because they have to put ins that lead to a bigger mess. Think this is why the DC animated movies are so good, just one shots.
I mean, you're not wrong, because it does work. And the animated movies, it's funny because Marvel had a couple animated movies that were okay, but DC was killing them in the animated movies when this whole new
most of the animated ones aren't very good anymore.
But yeah, like the MCU was coming up and it shifted because it used to be DC had the great movies and then you had like Spider-Man from Sony. And so even when Spider-Man was great, like Spider-Man 2, like it was still a Sony movie. It wasn't Marvel. It wasn't an interactive universe. It was one character in their world and it was separated out. And then, you had, the Christopher Reeve's Batmans leading into the freaking Tim Burton Batman. And then, we got Chris Nolan brought back Batman and made it awesome again. And like, we got to see a lot of great, really cool characters on the big screen again. And then they were just, I just always said the DC movies have been missing the heart of the characters. Like you're missing what makes some of those characters amazing. Like the fact that there was a DC executive that wanted to take out the No Man's Land sequence in Wonder Woman. That is the most Wonder Woman sequence in that whole first fucking movie. Like it nails the character. It makes it feel like Wonder Woman. And the fact that they wanted to remove that tells you that somebody over there didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And so, we got, Jon Favreau took a shot and made a random movie with a third tier character at the time. And make no doubt to yourself, Iron Man wasn't even on the Avengers at the time when that movie came out. Iron Man was a character that had just had his book canceled again at Marvel. He was a third tier character at best. And Jon Favreau fought, and Kevin Feige got Jon Favreau on the project, and then Favreau fought to get Robert Downey Jr., who was uninsurable at the time because of all of his crimes from the past, and fought to get those two guys to work together to make a movie that was just like, hey, this might work, it might not. An entire universe was built out of it that we now call the MCU, but it could have been a flop. It could have not worked. And it could have been that we saw, oh, that's kind of cool. There was a Nick Fury sequence at the end of the Iron Man movie. What if they'd ever done something with that? Like that could have been the end result if the Iron Man 1 movie wasn't basically a perfect film. It was a 100% perfect adaptation of an update to a character created in the 60s who got, shrapnel in his heart in Vietnam and then built a suit that looked like it was made out of concrete. Like the update that they did to that worked so well. And my only hope is that James Gunn is out there right now looking for directors like a Jon Favreau that has a take on a character like that and wants to do it as much as he wanted to do Guardians once he had his idea. Because don't forget, this is the guy who turned down Guardians. They brought him into Marvel like 4 or 5 times, and he's like, I got nothing for you. I don't have an idea. And he was literally like driving home from the last meeting, and something in his head clicked about like Rocket Raccoon being torn apart and rebuilt over and over again, and how that made him just like, a character that's filled with all this pain that kind of makes him an asshole. And then building a group of outsiders around that where they're all each dealing with their own individual pain, where, freaking Star-Lord, had his mom die in front of him and doesn't know who his dad is and has been like this orphan child in space, and freaking Drax had his family murdered by Thanos. Like it's all these characters filled with this pain, and like all of that clicked in his head, and he called Marvel back. He's like, hey, I know what to do with these characters. I have a movie. Let's go. And they greenlit it. My big hope is that James Gunn is out there looking for people that have those ideas. The person that'll tell him, hey, you're a great director. We'd like you to try to work on this. Do you have anything for us? And if that person says no 4 times, when they call back after the 5th meeting, James Gunn is there to go, yo, I know exactly what you're talking about. Go for it.
I just hope it means
that's what we need to see.
I hope it means they'll take some creative risks on things. And this sounds like I'm taking a shot. Maybe it is a slight shot. I feel like they've played kind of safe with most of the DC movies. Like, let's be honest. When they announced Guardians of the Galaxy at Marvel, was anyone like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever"? There were a lot of people, I think myself included, they were like, "What the fuck are they doing? Who?"
Yeah, it was literally, you might know me as Star-Lord. Who?
Right. I mean, and that's kind of what I'm getting at here is like they took a chance there. They did something different and they turned it into something that I think spiraled well beyond what they ever expected it to be popularity wise, and built into all sorts of other awesome parts of the MCU. And one could say they took a chance again with the Eternals and didn't quite pan out as well. But you got to take those chances. I mean, You
Exactly.
can't just be like, okay, we're going to put another Batman movie out because we don't know what else to do. Okay, well, this Joker thing worked. We took a chance doing a rated R Joker. Let's just do more of the same. Well, I guess that's not fair because they are doing a musical, so it's different.
Ugh.
Yeah, my personal thoughts notwithstanding, but I
Yeah.
think they've got folks here where they can shift up and be more creative. And I'm really intrigued to see what this means for the DC animation side of the house, because I think there's some really cool properties there. We're not going to get more Young Justice. It's pretty much a done deal at this point in time. It lived well past its expiration date, which is awesome. But I want to see more weird stuff in the same vein as like Harley Quinn. That'd be cool.
Yeah, true.
I enjoyed
yeah.
the hell out of that show.
Random Rig of the Chat's got a huge point too. Is I always talk about, Iron Man is the start of the MCU. Spider-Man was really like the start of the new giant crop of comic book superhero movies. But yeah, it all starts with Blade. It all starts with Wesley Snipes taking his own money to start a production company, because the previous to Blade, the last movie we've seen was Nipples and Neon Batman, and that was the end of superhero movies as far as anybody was concerned. Joel Schumacher killed it, and we were done. There's not going to be any more superheroes. There was going to be nothing. And Marvel was going through bankruptcy. They sold Spider-Man to Sony. Sony went over and was starting to work on stuff, and Wesley Snipes showed up at Marvel and said, "Hey, I would like to do a Blade movie. I'll purchase the rights and do it myself." And they're like, and they told him, "You can't purchase the rights as an individual." He went and started Amen-Ra Productions. He started his own production company with his own money, notwithstanding, tax problems. But he started his own company and bought the right to Blade just so he could do that film. That first film, basically jump-started what is now all, comic book movies as a cinematic genre in and of itself. Basically all came from Blade. They were so down in the dumps. And that first Blade movie was fantastic. And then the second was Guillermo del Toro. You can't go wrong with Guillermo del Toro. Everything he does is amazing.
Right. So coming out of this, we knew that there were some changes coming at DC, and we knew coming out of Black Adam that it promised the return of, we're going to have to talk about it because the news is coming up, Henry Cavill returning as Superman. Black Adam teased it, which kind of led to a lot of people, myself included, going, man, Henry Cavill's going to be a busy guy, but maybe not as busy as we thought. Isn't that right, Willie?
Yeah. Sad news on the horizon. But also kind of good news. I'll end up with some good news. Well, possibly good news. Yeah, Henry Cavill is stepping out of season 4 of The Witcher to be replaced by another actor. I'm still a little butthurt about it. And
don't worry.
Trying to deal.
Everyone is. If you go and look at the reactions from fans on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, any of that, everyone's kind of like, they're doing what with who?
How about this?
Let's be fair. It's not the top brother, but at least it's not the bottom brother.
That's true.
We should just delay.
We're talking about the Jonas Brothers, right?
Yep.
Just delay Witcher 4. Just delay it. I don't need it anytime soon. Just fucking delay it.
Netflix knows they got to get that shit out to us as fast as possible.
No, they don't.
Too long.
So for the background, Willie, what is happening with The Witcher 4? Or season 4, excuse me.
Henry Cavill's a little too busy doing Superman to come back for season 4 to shoot for season 4 of The Witcher. And is being replaced by, Chris, you say it because I don't want to fucking say it.
Liam Hemsworth. Now, we should also clarify, the assumption is it's the Superman return to the DC universe that's going to keep him that busy. I say that because if you go and read what some of the rumors were that were going around, was that Henry Cavill may have had some heartburn with the producers of Witcher in season 3 because they were changing things from how it was in the books, and he was a staunch proponent of, hey, let's stick closer to the source material and things. I don't know if this one's true. I've just seen it as a rumor that was floating around. So let's fully caveat all of those things.
I mean, that does sound like
but if you're someone like Henry
like something
Cavill,
he would do, because he loves that series.
Exactly. And if you're Henry Cavill, who a lot of this series happened because of your love of it, the love of the source material, the author of the series being like, holy crap, this guy's perfect for it, and he loves it all. To have them
Henry Cavill went basically straight Sean Young trying to get the Witcher role.
He was in better shape for The Witcher than he was for Superman.
Oh, he's even more jacked.
Yeah.
So
that's why I just said.
Yeah. I was agreeing.
I know.
How
Thank
dare you?
I know. What was I thinking?
Thank you, asshole.
So he's out, and they're bringing in. I just don't understand why. And I know we had this whole thing just earlier about don't shit on actors; they may surprise you. But this is one of those ones that face value. You're like, Liam Hemsworth is replacing Henry Cavill as Geralt of Rivia. I mean, maybe it's because the Cavill casting was near perfect. It just seems like anyone's going to pale in comparison. But I said on Twitter, and I said it facetiously, and maybe I should delete it because I wasn't meaning to take a shot. I was like, "Oh, this is great value brand Geralt we're going to get now. Or Geralt we're getting now."
I just hope. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry, Willie.
I just hope this is more of like a. I just had his name in my head. I just had it. Director of Kingsman is Matthew Vaughn. I hope this is like a Matthew Vaughn type of deal where he left Kick-Ass 2 to go do X-Men First Class, where that was he made a good fucking X-Men movie. It's something we needed. Kick-Ass 2 sucked.
It's a movie.
Doesn't not as lifted up as the original Kick-Ass is.
And let's not forget, just size-wise, just for the sheer physical presence of the character, Liam Hemsworth is a Hemsworth. His older brother Chris, who is just Thor, is the biggest he's ever been as Thor. He did not look like a human in the last Thor movie. He was so big. Liam might be working out right next to him with that, whatever that CrossFit app thing that the Hemsworth boys are selling now. He could end up being as big as Henry Cavill was, and he wasn't bad in the Hunger Games. Like, the kid's not a bad actor, and he's a Hemsworth. Like, they can be taught to do a little bit of gruff and a little bit of funny. Like, Thor changed a lot over the years, but Chris Hemsworth is a hell of a good actor. Liam could, he could surprise us all. And like Chris was saying, not shit on actors from the get-go. I remember back in the day, the TV Guide cover article pre-internet, Mr. Mom's going to be Batman. The world lost their shit. How the hell is Michael?
This is
but it was literally how is this actor that we've never seen in that type of role going to be able to pull this off?
Yeah, but
Liam
it's not.
Hemsworth might surprise us.
It's not the same though. There's
this is a character, an actor getting replaced with another. That's not the same thing. I know what you're saying. I agree with that part of it, but it's a whole nother actor. It's a whole nother actor.
So
you don't need it.
Let me paint a picture here. This would be equivalent to, let's say, let's use Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, who's become iconic as the character. When people think of Tony Stark, that's often the face that comes to mind. When people think of Geralt, people think of Henry Cavill because of how he's done that role. And I'm not saying it's on the same level as Tony Stark, but I want to use the comparison point.
I'll use that in the same thing. Yeah, okay. I'd say it's the same thing. Fuck everyone else.
Okay, that's fair. And then this is coming in and saying, okay, we're replacing Robert Downey Jr. with, I can't even think of, I was trying to think of
Gerard Butler.
Okay, Gerard Butler, for instance. And this is not taking a shot at Gerard Butler, but they're not on the same level. So
that would be
you don't have
an awesome mean drunk Tony Stark.
And maybe Tony Stark's not exactly a fair comparison because
Demon in a bottle.
Robert Downey Jr. kind of used that role to rehabilitate his image and turn into a megastar. We're talking about Henry Cavill, who is a megastar now, stepping down to get replaced by Liam Hemsworth, who's done some other movies, things like that, but he's not on the same level as Henry Cavill. So whether you like it or not, it gets seen as The Witcher is evidently not as important or shouldn't be held as in high esteem because we downgraded the main actor. And I don't know if that's necessarily what will be the case when we see it, but that's the perception we get, is that, Henry Cavill's leaving. This guy who loved The Witcher, talked about how much he loved The Witcher. This was like the role of a lifetime. And he's like, peace, y'all, I'm out. Something is weird. Willie, you're muted.
Yeah, because he did seem to really enjoy it, but also, I don't think, no matter how much you love The Witcher, Geralt Rivera is awesome, but he's not Superman. To get to actually play Superman the way Henry Cavill wants to play Superman. We saw him on set of Man of Steel smiling in a brighter blue suit. To actually get that on camera and present that to the fans, I think that's what's driving him, because I don't think Henry Cavill got to show us the Superman that he feels that he wanted to present. And I think that's what's driving it.
And if you saw Henry Cavill's announcement of
he's
his
stoked.
return to the role. He made a point of saying how he was excited to play this version of the character and things like
Yeah.
that. And like, if you saw his return in Black Adam, he's very, there's an homage to Christopher Reeves in the way he's portrayed, between the music and the spit curl and things like that, which kind of gives you the indicator of, maybe they're going more with what we'd seen previously.
Maybe the symbol of hope in the DC universe will actually be the symbol of hope in the DC universe.
Two things. Chris, I am going to argue your use of the word downgrade in actors.
Fair.
It's just a different act. Didn't matter who it is. It's not a downgrade. It's just that it's someone different. Come on.
Let me clarify.
Not to you.
Let me clarify my thought in downgrade. I was not trying to denigrate Liam Hemsworth, but let's look at it from a bean counter standpoint of Henry Cavill is a bigger draw than Liam Hemsworth. That's more what I was getting at, is that Henry Cavill is a bigger draw to that role. There are a lot of people who watched The Witcher because Henry Cavill was in it, and that's what got them interested in it. Because it was a whole meme of a bunch of women or whatever gender you are that was like, man, Henry Cavill's looking fucking hot in that, and then they checked it out.
Let's be honest, the only way they could have done something that would have actually worked better for Netflix and like possibly sold more subscriptions and got more people talking would have been to do, a side-to-side shift or possibly an upgrade and actually gotten back up the money truck and get Chris Hemsworth to do it. Get the number one putting asses in seats Hemsworth brother. If they could have got him to do Joe Rivera, people would have lost their shit. Be like, wait, Superman's out and Thor's in? What the fuck is going on? This is
Whoa.
Did we just lose Chris?
Yeah, the feed went down. I'm not sure why. Which
all right, it's a bad
killed
take.
all the videos.
I give up.
Now I'm the only person whose video works because the feed went down.
Oh shit.
We'll mesh these together. We're gonna shut down the feed for like 5 seconds and we'll be right back. Give us 1 sec, guys.
It happens.
So pardon the technical hiccup there, guys. We are back. We are streaming and we are recording again. Those of you guys on the audio version, the only reason you'll know is because I mentioned it. So go me.
My Hemsworth take was so bad it kicked us off the internet. I give up.
To go jump right back into the news, I do want to see one thing. If Henry Cavill's coming back as Superman in the next movie that he's in, they need one thing. Superman needs a mustache.
No.
Spend all that time to digitally edit out. Grow one for the role again. Do it. Do it. Grow some fucking balls. I know James Gunn's probably get the balls to do it.
James Gunn would probably do full-on bearded Superman.
Oh,
I'll fucking do that.
I'll eat that up all day long. Hell, we saw how he shaves in the Adventures of Lois and Superman, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw it in the cartoon also.
Yep. Dean Cain is my Superman.
Tim Daly's
bad
my
take
Superman.
you would have.
Fuck you basic bitch.
I didn't say Christopher Reeve like everyone else. I said Tim Daly. Calm down.
Kevin Conroy's
and that's why you're both wrong, because Christopher Reeve is Superman.
He is, and so here's the difference. You saw the movie originally. That was your first experience with Superman.
Yeah.
My first experience with Superman was probably through the animated show and
Was the
reading some
cartoon.
comics on the side.
That
So,
makes sense. And
for me,
Tim Daly is
Superman.
great. Yeah, he is great at the voice. Like he goes toe to toe with Kevin Conroy. Those two together as voice talent as Superman and Batman are the world's finest. They are fucking fantastic. Those two play very well together in the animated sandbox.
I'm just saying.
I'm just Super Saiyan here.
Yeah, so I'm cautiously optimistic to see where they go with things.
I'm excited, and am I still the only one here that's seen Black Adam?
Yes.
Probably.
So I mean, yeah, The Rock's going to hold. Like, there's going to be a big chunk of anything going forward that James Gunn and Saffron do, where they're going to have to work with $10 Productions. They got to make sure The Rock's on, or $7 Productions. They got to make sure The Rock's on board with decisions they make that regards certain characters, because the Black Adam into the Captain Marvel universe, and now its effect on Superman. What else that's going to do for DC? Dwayne Johnson's going to be involved. Like, there's just no way around it. He's one of the world's biggest superstars. He fought for this character for over 10 or 15 years to eventually get it on screen. Black Adam's not going away. And Black Adam was good. It was a solid film. Is it an Iron Man level, like, perfect film? No. Is it fucking, Batfleck Daredevil? Way better than that. Like, There are varying degrees of nailing a character on screen, telling a good story. Black Adam is a solid story. It's a fun movie. It's a bunch of crazy super people punching each other and a bunch of little humans getting crushed. And The Rock does it in a funny way. His Black Adam is solid. It's good storytelling. And yeah, like Henry Cavill, he doesn't look like a human. Dwayne Johnson as Teth Adam looks inhumanly large. He's gigantic. As long as he can keep, The Rock's going to keep up that regimen. He's going to keep looking like that. We're going to get Black Adam in probably 4 or 5 more films minimum. There's no way he's doing the Black Adam to do one movie and be done, or do one movie and then fight Shazam and be done. We're going to get, a series of films.
My concern with Black Adam is people thinking that this is going to be the Iron Man of the new DC universe. And I'm not really sure I care for Black Adam being the connective tissue of all of the new DC movies. Because I don't care about, to be fair, I don't care about the characters much either. I was an Iron Man comic fan before the movie existed. So maybe that's why that was a bit more palatable to me and wasn't a big reach for me when they actually did it.
Well, and part of the problem, too, is that Black Adam is neither a hero or a villain. And so when he's written well, it can be extremely well done. When he's written poorly, it's basically the Punisher with superpowers. And then sometimes that's a real big letdown. But depending on who they have writing the storyline, we might get some amazing... Because, at some point, we have to see The Rock fighting Shazam. We're going to get Black Adam versus Shazam because, those two characters have gone toe-to-toe forever. They are each other's, arch nemesis. We're going to probably see, Teth Adam throwing down with Henry Cavill. We're going to see The Rock and Henry Cavill go at it as Superman and Black Adam. That's a fight I want to see on screen. That could be amazing. And they're both going to look big as shit doing it because they're both giant humans. So, we're going to get, some great... We know we got great fight sequences coming. Maybe some great, storytelling. I just hope they just keep in tone with that character and nail it. Because, it's not... Black Adam's not the Iron Man for starting off a universe, but it could be, it could be the Daredevil TV show that launched the TV universe on Netflix, where everything was wrapped into that and done really well. Daredevil's not like a superhero. It's very dark, but Teth Adam was done well. Black Adam's a good character. It can be done. And now with James Gunn involved, I honestly really hope that James Gunn and Dwayne Johnson meet and have good chemistry and realize that they can work together well. Because if those two don't like each other, we're going to have huge problems. If those two work well together, we might see some of the coolest shit in the world over the next 15 years from DC. We might get the best movies we've ever seen out of DC since 1978.
It's possible. We are starting to run tight on time, so thank you to our unofficial timekeeper here for pointing that out to me. We have one last News of the Week story, but we can do it relatively quickly before we start wrapping things up. But we spent a good chunk of time talking about the future of the DC universe of things and fallout that meant. That doesn't mean that Marvel news stops happening too. Just like James Gunn said, a dollar in DC's pocket does not mean a dollar out of Marvel's pocket. We did get some rumored stuff. Deadline's reported it, so I assume it's going to be happening. But there is rumors of a new MCU-based television show that'll be coming to Disney+. A spin-off of WandaVision starring Paul Bettany as the Vision that they are presumably going to be entitling Vision Quest. I love it. Plus, I like the Vision Quest movie with wrestling in it too, so this is fun.
It's perfect.
So, according, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, are we gonna take some controlled substances and go on a Vision Quest?
Yep.
I mean, that's
and take some controlled substances and turn on my Disney Plus.
So
just zone out.
I'm gonna flip over to tvline.com because that's where I got the story from. They say, quote, the series tentatively titled Vision Quest with a writer's room reportedly starting up next week will be about Vision trying to regain his memory and humanity after the events of WandaVision. Let's see. An appearance by Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda in the spinoff is still a possibility per Deadline, but the series is going to focus on Paul Bettany as Vision, which I think could be awesome because he's been awesome in that role every time he's gotten the chance. Background on showrunners and stuff. WandaVision creator Jack Schaefer is set to serve as showrunner of the Vision spinoff. Another WandaVision spinoff, Agatha Covenant of Chaos with Catherine Hahn, reprising her role, is slated to debut in winter 2023 to 2024. Wonder if these might be connected in some way, shape, or form. I don't know, but I'm happy to see it happen. I mean, Paul Bettany had pretty much said in the WandaVision press tour he was still open to doing the character. His contract was up, but he was still open to doing it. So evidently the call is out, and I'm curious to see what happens with this Vision. Do we get him returning back to his regular form? I mean, we got a huge long run in the comics of Vision regaining his memories and regaining his humanity and things like that after he became the pale ghost-like Vision.
I'm trying to remember. At the end of WandaVision, the two Visions merged into one, correct? That's how they beat each other?
The one Vision gave him all of his memories and things like that. The one that we know. They didn't merge because, remember, they were still two separate Visions, but he shared all of his memories.
That's right. He gave him all his memories back.
So that's very similar to what we got in the comics when the Vision eventually was just given all of the memories that he had previous to or prior to his deconstruction, but he didn't know how to process them and make the connection with them. So he was still just a robot that had these memories but had no emotion tied to it.
Oh.
So it could be interesting. I mean, it's similar to what we've seen, say, like Data in Star Trek, where you're the robot that has all of these memories of things, but you can't make the emotional connection. That's sort of where we are with things, is White Vision had no emotion, anything like that.
You got to visualize the data, right?
There you go. The fact that
Wants
they're
to
bringing
be
Jack
a real
Schaefer
boy
back as the showrunner after having handled that character in WandaVision, I think is fascinating and interesting to me, because how they handled Vision throughout WandaVision and the steady realization that, oh my God, this is all fake and it's Wanda that's manipulating everything, it was really well done. And there was also some really hilarious moments with that character in there. So I am cautiously optimistic for a WandaVision TV show. And this is the exact same kind of thing that Disney has to keep doing as the Disney Plus price keeps going up. Believe me, I'm someone who my 3 years prepaid Disney Plus runs out in like 2 weeks. So I'm kind of going, do I need to keep
I got that email too. I was
or?
like, wait, I got to start paying for this?
Yeah. So I was going, am I going to let it lapse for a little bit until some more stuff comes out? Because I'm not on top of Andor or things like that. So I could let a bunch of stuff queue up and then just restart it in a couple months and just binge watch everything. I haven't decided what to do yet.
Fair enough.
And to be fair, while I'm intrigued by this show, I'm not sure it would be enough to make me buy 2.5 months of Disney Plus to watch it as it all comes out fresh. It's something I would certainly buy it for and binge watch it. But maybe that's just because my viewing habits have changed too, which is I'm more okay with. I don't mind catching a few stray spoilers and then just binge watching something.
And I'll probably be on it day one, like most Marvel stuff. So
that's fair.
I'm pretty sure I'm keeping my Disney Plus. So at least one of us will be current on it.
So Willie, I didn't give you a chance to chime in yet. What's your take on this Vision Quest show? Does it sound interesting to you?
Let's see. Let me reach in my heart of hearts. Actually, yes.
I like how you had everyone going for a second there, that you're going to be like, nah, fuck this shit.
It's whatever. I mean, I'm not like super looking forward to it, but I'd give it a watch.
Yeah, I think you're in about the same category as I am then, which is, hey, this sounds like something I would watch, but it's not like something I'm like, oh my God, I need this tomorrow. It's more like, hey, when it comes out, that'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm more interested in that than I was, I guess, let's say WandaVision. I'm more interested in this than WandaVision.
That's fair. I think this could be a really cool character study kind of show, basically. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah. That's weird too, because now I'm thinking about it. I haven't gone back and rewatched any of the Disney Plus Marvel shows yet.
Yeah, I've seen them enough.
Because I watched every one of them as they're coming out. So I watched, Falcon Winter Soldier. I watched WandaVision, Moon Knight, just finished wrapped She-Hulk. Yeah, and Werewolf by Night was awesome, but I haven't had the urge to go back and rewatch any of them yet. And it seems weird because I rewatch the Marvel movies all the time. There's something about diving back into like 8 hours of a show where it's not.
It's more of a time commitment, is the thing. It's tougher to be like, oh my God, I'm ready to rewatch 12 episodes of it or 8 episodes of a TV show, because you're like, I can't just do that in an afternoon. I've got to commit multiple afternoons.
Well,
unless
depends upon how long you take for your afternoon.
Okay, I guess that's true. Technically, afternoon would
that's
be 12:01
you.
p.m. to
8 hours later, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. Everything, I keep thinking I might rewatch She-Hulk again. That one was fun. That show was just super fun, start to finish. And Moon Knight, now that I've finished it, it'll be good for a rewatch at some point. But yeah, WandaVision was so good, but also so heartbreaking that that's not an enjoyable watch, I guess. It's great storytelling, but yeah, I haven't been in the mood to go back and rewatch that yet. And it's spooky season anyway. It's time for spooky movies, not
Exactly.
sad stuff.
Exactly. That being said, it is time for us to start wrapping things up. As we wrap up, we do what we do every week. Our traditional closing segment called What I'm Into. It's our chance to share with you guys watching live or listening later the geeky and nerdy things we've been getting into so that you may want to go check it out yourselves. And I think it's fair to say we've all been playing Marvel Snap. Isn't that right, gentlemen?
I've been snapping. You've been snapping? Because I think we all been snapping.
We've been snapping a lot.
I've
only been snapping half as much as y'all been snapping. Apparently, I got to give up on those other card trader games because they're taking up too much time on my phone.
Apparently, some people are just better than others.
Ooh, like I said last week, though, this is like a perfect game to be able to play while watching television or watching sports or something like that, because it's not like you can't look up from the game to see what's going on TV for a few seconds, because you've got 40 seconds between turns that you could theoretically.
Yeah, they give you a fair amount of time. Yeah, it's good.
Or you can knock out a game in 4 minutes if you have a good opponent.
Sometimes when you're really thinking, you're like, where do I want to put this? Where do I want to put this? Do I want to put this here? Do I want to put this here? Oh shit, I'm out of time. Oh fuck, I guess I'll just do that. Fuck.
Yep, been there. So I've been playing a lot of Marvel Snap. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I do not regret my purchase of the season pass last week. I would say anyone or battle pass or whatever it is. I can't remember the correct term. There's a week and 2 days left on it. I don't know if I would buy it now, unless I had a lot of time to dedicate to the game to try and knock things out. But at the time I bought it, it gave me plenty of time to at least get to level 50 on it, which is where I want to be.
Within a week, I got to the whole thing.
That's fair.
Yes, and I know I haven't, so yeah. I'll look at the next one and see what the next one is. But it's going to be sad if it's not something as cool as Miles, though.
Apparently, from what I've seen in two seasons, Miles Morales will be put into rotation.
Okay.
Every card you can get in there will be. Although, I mean, I like the Venom variant I got for Spider-Woman.
Yes, the Spider-Woman card's really good too. I use it a lot.
That one's solid.
It can be used it has a lot of use for multiple decks.
Put her out and then put Odin right after it, and you've basically dropped everything that you're opposing in that lane enough. You're probably going to win it. That's neither here nor there. For those who are interested in the game, we've talked about it before. You can go, and this is not an official site, I don't believe, but it's actually a really cool site I found for some deck research and seeing other stuff. It's marvelsnapzone.com. There's a lot of people that have shared their different decks, and the way they do this, you can literally just copy a deck code and paste it into the game, and it'll build that deck for you if you have all the right cards and stuff. And if you don't have single cards, it'll just leave them out. So it's an interesting place to go and look up other decks that people are trying and get some ideas for some weird stuff you might want to try just screwing around in the game. Because there are some random decks I put together just to see how they would work. And after 2 playthroughs, I'm never touching this one again. This is terrible. But it's fun. Other stuff I've been getting into. I am doing a replay of Cyberpunk 2077 right now. My goal is not to beat it, but more to get myself into the 2/3 to 3/4 part of completion on the game, and then to pause and wait until the DLC comes out, because I don't want to do the DLC after I beat the game. I want to do DLC, then beat the game. But I'm having fun with it. It's a far more fleshed out and better experience with all of the enhancements that have gone into it. And this time, instead of being a gun runner who kind of does some edge running on the side, I'm going with a pure blades build. So my character has the Mantis blades, which are blades that fold out of the forearms and the arms. And I can never remember the name of this tool, but I replaced my cyber deck with the Sandavasian accelerator, which basically means when you go into a fight, you trigger it. And for the version I have, for 15 seconds, time goes at 50% speed. So basically, I go and speed myself up, slow everything down 50%, and just go in and hack and slash and kill people, because you can dodge bullets, you can dodge people swinging at you, and in 15 seconds, that's enough time for me to kill a good chunk of people, and then I can run away and let it recharge, or I can just stand there and keep hacking and slashing. And my build is all predicated on every time I slice someone, it does bleeding damage, which gives lingering damage, and then I have a damage multiplier based on whether people are bleeding or not, and then I also have a stamina recovery based off of people bleeding and then killing them, because all your blade swings are based off of stamina. So it's been a pretty fun build for me. I've been having fun with it. Willie, you seem skeptical of my blade running build.
Oh, no. That's just my resting skeptical face.
Okay, that's fair. So I've been playing Cyberpunk, a good chunk of that. I'm about to hit my stopping point, I think, until the DLC comes out, and then I'll probably move on to Far Cry 6 or Tales of Arise. I'm not sure which one I want to play next. And then I did a little bit of a toy hunt. It wasn't exactly on purpose this week, but I had to go to GameStop to return my duplicate copies of Far Cry and Tales of Arise, because they finally sent me my copies of those in the mail, and I got them. Although my resolution with GameStop still hasn't happened, because they still owe me a box of Pokemon cards and have not responded to phone calls, Twitter DMs, or emails. So I'm pretty much just resigned to the fact they're never going to respond to me about the fact that I never got the one free of my buy two, get one free.
They suck.
I've sent multiple emails, multiple Twitter DMs. I've tried calling them, and every time it's, can't get anything out of them. So at this point, it is what it is. I'm not purchasing anything online from GameStop anymore.
Or in stores.
Probably not in stores, but the ironic thing is I went and returned these things, and then I hit the clearance at GameStop because they had been resupplied with AEW figures. Yeah, well, it's fine. I understand the hypocrisy I'm displaying here. But they had gotten a new shipment of stuff that went on the clearance rack. And so I was like, oh, let me look and see what's there. And I got the Painmaker Chris Jericho figure for half off. And then I was like, a Britt Baker figure. I've seen tons of these around before, but I don't remember seeing it before. And I pulled it off, and I was like, wait a second. This is a Britt Baker Chase that's on clearance. So I got a clearance Britt Baker Chase 1 in 3,000 for $10.
Hell yeah.
I should also point out, I already had one of those figures as a Chase, although the box was damaged. So now I have one in pristine shape, and I have a damaged box one. So maybe I'll open the damaged box one. Although I don't really want to open a Chase, even if the box is damaged.
All right, companies, you hear this right. If you want to scam Chris, he'll still buy from you. So companies, scam the fuck out of this guy right down here, and he'll fucking keep giving you money after handful of money. Take my shit, bitch.
I'm hoping there's actually a resolution to the issue at some point in time. Because
but until there is, you don't give them money. What
really,
is wrong with you?
I wasn't going to leave a Chase figure sitting on the rack.
Yeah. I still haven't picked up an AEW figure, but if I saw a Chase figure in the clearance rack at GameStop, I guess I'd give 1/4 portion my $10.
You have no honor.
For comparison, let me just put it this way, Willie. If I wanted to flip it and sell it, I could sell it for $100 to $120 probably. At the low end, I could probably get 80 out of it. So I paid $10 for it. I could get 7 times my money back, basically.
That's not bad.
Or 8 times, rather.
Wait. Stop. No. When have you ever resold an action figure?
I said could, not that I was going to.
So this value shit doesn't mean a damn thing if you doesn't mean anything to you.
But I wanted the figure.
Willie, now you sound like Jana. Oh yeah, those comic book pages are worth what? But you're never going to sell them. But I could.
I'm sitting on a theoretical millions of dollars.
It's my nest egg for retirement, damn it.
My house door now going to my laundry room is theoretically worth over $1,000 in Ryan Otley art. That's a very
technically your door's not worth that. The artwork is, but
and then
I get what you mean. I'll give it to you.
To close out what I'm into, because I'm going a bit long and I apologize. I also had some mail that arrived from one Danhausen, because I had done one of his Whatnot streams where I got 2 micro brawlers. I have the Frankenhausen micro brawler and the Summerhausen micro brawler that he sent me that are signed that I was able to put up on my wall.
Do they fit
very
in micro
nice
machines?
Sorry?
Sorry to who?
Willie, go ahead. What were you saying?
Do they fit in micro machines? What the fuck's a micro brawler?
No, but they're like
little guys.
Little chibi style action figure kind of things.
Chibi? Oh, I hate chibi style.
So are they very nice or are they very evil?
Well, one could say the Frankenhausen would be the evil one, and the Summerhausen would be the very nice, because that's Danhausen with his cloak and flowers in his hair.
Okay, I think I saw the Frankenhausen. I have not seen the Summerhausen. He's got flowers in his hair?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I have those. They're hanging up on my wall, and I have an Evil Uno one I'd also gotten at one point in time, so that's kind of fun. I like Evil Uno. But that's what I've been getting into. Bachman, why don't you go next for us? What you been getting into?
Cleaning up the den. Now, there's still a mess on my art table, but the shelves have been reorganized. Like I said, the one door to the laundry room is now the Ryan Otley door, which has got my housewarming present. The top page is my Amazing Spider-Man page that Jana got me, and the 2 pages of Invincible that I bought for Ryan himself at Salt Lake City Con. Off to the side of that, which you can't see, is now my Bruno Redondo section above my DVD shelves over here. I have 2 pages from the new Nightwing series that I love. So yeah, that wall combined, those 5 comic pages, more than I spent on my last car. Not my current car. My previous car, that artwork cost more than that. So yeah, it's really nice, very expensive wall. And then I've got went and got 4 new frames. Today I'm going to hang up my 3 Mark Bagley pages from New Warriors comics that I have. And so that's going to go on the back of my den door so that when my doors close, I can see my Mark Bagleys, just because I need room and, kind of running out of space here. So it looks really good to put 3 of these frames that I've got fit nicely on the center of a door. So yeah, I've got one door. I'm going to do the other door. And then above my desk here, which probably no one's ever going to see, I own a page of Robert Kirkman and Jason Howard's Super Dinosaur, where I named the letters page. And so Josh Howard sent me a page of Super Dinosaur. So this is going to go above my desk here with the main kid and his wheelie robot talking to his dad. So yeah, I won that for naming their letters page, Malosaurus Tex. So I'm going to hang that up above my computer desk here, and then probably play some Snap, prep for Halloween. We get our new couch tomorrow. So tomorrow night, Jana has promised me we will watch Saw about the time that the trick-or-treaters stop, because around our neighborhood, around 9 o'clock, they just stop cold. So work tomorrow, hand out some candy in my Ghostface outfit, which will be fun. Have her answer the door, and then I'm going to come running around the kitchen, like up behind her with a knife, try to scare the piss out of some kids. That's what Halloween's for.
Get your hose ready to hose off the front porch if you need to.
If need to. But yeah, we got...
What are we talking about?
Scaring people. Yeah, I got a new Ghostface inflatable out in the front yard. Her daughter Fashion got us that at Spirit, where she's been working this month as a temp job, which is awesome. So we have an inflatable Ghostface out in the yard. I'm going to be Ghostface scaring people tomorrow. Watch some horror movies. We watched The School of Good and Evil on Netflix, which was pretty solid. It wasn't bad. It was very cutesy. I think it's something to where, like, if I was 10 years old, I might think it was like the coolest movie ever. Like, it's a really solid, like, fantasy school for fairy tale characters that are literally divided into schools of good and evil. But yeah, it was a very cute movie. Charlize Theron, Lawrence Fishburne. It's got some really good actors in it. Very well made. Really cool special effects. And then we've watched, I think, the first half of The Cabinet of Curiosities by Guillermo del Toro, which is Guillermo doing short stories, some of them that he wrote, some of them are H.P. Lovecraft stories, but it's him introducing it a la Twilight Zone. And then I guess Guillermo actually picked the 8 directors of the 8 individual stories. And yeah, just really good, creepy stuff. I'm on the middle of the 4th or 5th episode, which has Rupert Grint, which is the first thing I've seen Ron Weasley in since the Harry Potter films. So it's kind of cool to see that actor, doing a role that's not Ron Weasley. And yeah, really interesting storytelling, very strange storytelling on some of the H.P. Lovecraft stuff. There's one that's about paintings that basically when you look at them, it makes you go mad. That one was really gruesome, crazy Cthulhu stuff. Like whenever you're dealing with Lovecraft, you're going to get some craziness. But yeah, solid show. So yeah, Cabinet of Curiosities is a good one. And there's another movie. Oh, we started Barbarian. I apparently have to watch the rest of it on my own because it freaked Jana out. And so about halfway through, we stopped it. And it starts off as like a weird B&B situation where someone's at an Airbnb and someone else has the key. And there's 2 people spending the night there. And then they find a weird like torture dungeon in the basement. And supposedly it gets weirder from there. So I'm looking forward to finishing that. But apparently I had to watch it on my own because it was creeping out my fiance. She is not digging on. She doesn't really like horror stuff that seems more realistic, like it could happen. And because this is literally just like a person, in an everyday situation, it's like, yeah, there's some creepy shit that like someone could pull off and like ruin someone's life. So those kind of freak her out. She likes the, the crazy supernatural stuff. So yeah, looking forward to I think they're doing another Conjuring movie. So we'll be digging on those. Yep. That's what I'm going to get into, and just very much looking forward to handing out candy tomorrow because the whole front of our house is done up. We drove around yesterday looking at other Halloween decorations in our neighborhood. And yeah, I love Halloween. It's my favorite. So tomorrow will be horror movies on the TV while I'm working in the morning. And then once 5 o'clock hits, it'll be horror movies out in the living room as we start handing out candy as the sun goes down.
Nice. Willie, why don't you finish things up for us? What you been getting into, sir?
Tomorrow's Halloween. Well, this past week, my kitchen light went out, and I was like, all right, I'll go change the bulb. Let me just take off this thing. For yous who's don't knows. My kitchen has about somewhere around 6'5" clearance where the roof is or ceiling, and my I'm 6'4", so so this is a flush light. It's very about yay width, and it's above like a table I use for an island in the kitchen, so I don't have to worry about hitting my head on it. But I also had the light went out. I was like, all right, let me just go get the bulb and change. Let me take this little thing off, twist the dome thing off of it. And I'm like, well, I can't change that because it's a strip of LEDs. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I'm not an electrician. Fuck.
Your kitchen light is a string of LEDs?
Well, it's like a string of LEDs inside the round dome. It's like a couple lines of like LED lights turning in. Yeah, just not bad. So I had to go get a new one of those, and apparently I was misinformed when it said color changing. I was like, ooh, just color changing built in? That's cool, because some of them did that. The one I got, the color changing it means is making it a soft light or a more like clear light.
Natural versus soft, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair
or
fucking
warm,
enough.
I guess.
Yeah, it's whatever. I was like, oh, okay. So I went and got another one of them, and when I was at Home Depot, I was like, let me go in this little area over here, and let me go see what else I can dig up, because I need something else. And I found something that was on clearance, and I was like, ooh, clearance? I'll take this. I think a set of 6 or 8, was it English ivy? So I have like a little lattice out front that's just see-through. There's nothing blocking it, so hopefully I can set those up so they can start growing up the trellis. Give me some like little protection from the
Green
street.
Thumb Willie here.
Indeed.
I mean, get some English ivy's fucking strong. You've seen where it's crawled up buildings and they have to rip that stuff off.
It's kind of cool when they do that because it looks awesome when it has that pattern.
I
did forget. I got a board cut at Lowe's yesterday and raised up my entertainment center so it no longer blocks my vent in my den. I did home improvement stuff as well.
And then I finally watched Thor: Love and Thunder.
How did you like it?
It was better than what I thought it was going to be. That what?
Did you flick too hard?
I don't remember the flicking joke.
That's when his clothes got removed.
Zeus knocks off his.
Oh yeah,
that was.
You flick too hard.
That was whatever. It was all right. That's my review of it. It's all right. I thought it was going to be a little bit more heavy-handed with the Jane Foster thing, but no, felt natural. Didn't feel obtuse or anything. Felt just a natural progression, and gave a nice send-off to the character. Yeah, everything felt nice about it. But generally, the story as a whole was like, because you never really saw Christian Bale do anything. He did stuff.
It all happened mostly off camera. When you
So after seeing some of the stuff that he said, like, was it last week or week before about like, working for these green screen movies doesn't even mean anything because you're not really acting against anything. It's just you there and a blank wall behind you. I get what he means by it, because every time I just think about that, every time I saw him on the screen, it's like, yeah, he's probably not. Yeah, it's probably weird, isn't it? I get what he means.
I mean, I think that's the upside of them being able to shoot in the volume now. Like they're saying, a lot of the actors love it because they can look to their right or left and see the environment that they're supposed to be in, at least.
One thing to keep in mind on this one too is there was a lot of differences because of pandemic restrictions for shooting.
Yeah.
So that.
Oh, I'll give that too, but I get what he means when he says it though. Like just because it's something you have to do for safety reasons doesn't mean it's still a good thing. Like, yeah, it's good that it's safe, but it doesn't, it doesn't really make the product better overall.
Yeah, not necessarily helpful to storytelling.
But still, be safe. That's smart. Be good. Yeah. But yeah, but I get what I mean. Yeah, the movie's all right. Watch Slither a time or two. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'm gonna go check it out because I've been hearing rumblings, been seeing rumblings. I'm gonna go check out in Walmart early in the morning and see if they have any PS5s just sitting on the shelf or something.
Good luck.
I mean, I've been hearing rumblings. Hopefully, people will be waiting for Black Friday sales.
They've been readily available on the PlayStation Online store as of late. It seems like
the PlayStation Direct. Yeah.
So it seems
but they
like
don't
things
take cash.
Are easing up. I know that, but I'm just saying you can use that as a point of comparison to say others should be having them.
Fair enough. Yeah. I know I did something else. What was it? I've been playing through the Dark Pictures anthology games. I get through 2 of them at least with a friend of mine who she never played through them, so we're playing through it online. And those games playing online is a whole other experience that you can't get playing until Dawn or The Quarry. Like, it's a whole other thing where you're both controlling a character and making decisions at the same time. It's unique. I just wish the engine could be a bit. The game has some bugs. I'm not gonna lie. We started the very first one, Man of Medan, but there was like an audio bug that as soon as it got through like the little intro part, and we got to like the little main theme going on, there was always like an going through. So we had
like
to
a constant
stop it.
whining noise.
Yep. So we had to turn it off, and she was like, "All right, I want to do the next one." It's like, "Oh, okay, I don't mind that. I got all 3 of them. I don't mind." The only thing is, I thought I remembered these games coming with like a free friend pass. Like if the person doesn't have a game, they can download a trial for it, and then you can give them a pass. You get 1 free pass to give to someone, and that's for 1 playthrough of the story. So you guys can stop and start again, if you guys, because they just don't assume you're going to play it all in one sitting, but they can only play it with you for that one save, and that's it. So it's just 1 playthrough of the story, and that's it. But apparently that they changed up how it works or something. Because I remember when Man of Medan came out, that was a thing for it. And I never used it or anything. But looking for this one, apparently that was only offered at the beginning of the year for a limited time thing. And I was like, I thought it was worked this other way. Whatever. They bought the last year's one, House of Ashes, which is definitely an improvement between Little Hope, the second one. And I can't even say why Man of Medan and Little Hope are like, Little Hope should not have been the follow-up to Man of Medan. They should have chose a different story. And I can't even say why. I can't even mention why I'm saying it because I don't want to spoil any of it for anybody. Because if I say why, then it's like, oh, well, if I know that, then I know that. And then for the other one, then I'm not going to say what that is. Just for, I mean, Little Hope still is a good story and good game. It's just, it shouldn't have been the follow-up to Man of Medan. It shouldn't have been their second game. Just, yeah. But, I mean, everything else is pretty damn good. And I can't wait for the new one to come out. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. The Devil Inside, I think is what it's called. And it comes out November 22nd, I want to say. That sounds right. Feels right. Could be right.
They are pumping out them games.
Oh, yeah. They had the Quarry this year and another Dark Pictures anthology. Let's go. I don't even know how many more they have for the contract for Dark Pictures anthology games. But, I mean, I've been enjoying them. The Quarry is amazing. Even though I wish it would have a mode like the 2-player mode like the Dark Pictures anthology games have. But, I'm not. I enjoyed the Quarry for what it was. And still enjoying it every now and then when someone says, hey, I'll be a little curious thing. I'll be like, all right, how about this? I will share play with you, you take control, and I get to watch how you play, and because like Bachman, if we get into a party together, I can just hand you the controller through, say your controller is now controlling my PlayStation, and with my upload speed, it has no problems with it.
Nice, and then you're just basically sitting and watching how someone else makes the decisions.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, you did that, and we're talking the whole time, like, ooh, you chose that. Ooh,
nice.
Ooh. Like,
I played through the intro of the Quarry. It was interesting.
Oh, did you get it?
No.
How'd you play through them?
You could download the intro for like playing through the part where the cop pulls you over, Ted Raimi, and then getting to the hotel. Like that whole sequence, you could play for free.
What hotel do you get to?
Or isn't it called the Quarry?
Yeah, but
not the hotel. He tells you guys, to the hotel.
So how the story starts up?
But
it's your two kids.
It's a giant cabin that looks like a hotel.
Well, no. Okay, so hold on a second. You are two characters that are going a night early to the camp. To like she said she called the guy David Arquette's character and said she called and told him, but she left a message. She didn't actually talk to him.
Yeah.
And so they're just going there, assuming they can just stay. And the guy gets like, you left a message, you didn't actually talk to him. So he's rightfully a little pissed off about it. Like, come on, man. So there's no one there.
That line was great, though.
What's the difference? Told him,
this is the difference. We're locked outside.
Yeah, Ted Raimi was being creepy a little bit, and he was telling him, like, no, you're going to the Harbinger Motel is where you're going to stay the night. There's no one at the camp. And they go to the camp anyway. They never, no one ever goes to that Harbinger Motel. You never even see it. It's not a thing. Well, it is I'm assuming it's a thing, but yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have the option of actually going there.
Yeah, but everything else, still trying to get through Yakuza. I'm trying, man. I'm very, very much trying. Marvel Snap. I've been snapping left and right to things, so that's been good. And yeah, that's what I've been getting into.
Nice. Well, on that note, everyone, first of all, thank you for joining us. Thanks for putting up with our random little weird hiccup we had there. Hopefully for folks watching live, we were only down for like 3 seconds. And for those of you guys who are watching later, it's going to be edited out. I'll leave this mention here so you can try and figure out where it happened if you want. Make it a contest. Tweet us at ATGN Podcast to figure out where it happened. But on that note, a friendly reminder, we stream the show live every Sunday right now, live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, over at www.nerds.live, and soon to return back to www.geeks.live. If you want to follow us, you can hit us up on Twitter. I think we have a Facebook page for the podcast, but I don't honestly remember. We should probably fix that if we do. Go and find those things and let us know. But before we shut things down, you guys have any final thoughts for the people? Anything?
Have a spooky Halloween.
Boycott Witcher 4 because I'm good on all
Season
that.
4, not the fourth game that they're going to work on at some point.
Oh yeah, and how about this little news? They also teased out a remake of Witcher 1, the game.
That is
You're
true.
welcome.
On that note, then, we are going to shut things down and say thank you so much, everyone who did join us, and we will see you all next week for another round of our typical horseshit shenanigans. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek Radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us at atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.